Welcome to the 2020 Ridgewater and Jaycee Water Carnival Disc Golf Tournament.
We recognize that these are unprecedented times with the historic coronavirus pandemic disrupting virtually every aspect of our lives.
We get it, and we thank our heroes for working for us every day. We in no way want to minimize their efforts.
But for one evening, we're offering you this escape for a touch of normalcy and some positive mental health. Some fun outdoor activity and community involvement from a distance of 6 feet. It's the second annual Ridgewater College and Jaycee's Water Carnival Disc Golf Tournament in partnership with the Little Crow Disc Golf Club.
We will still have food, and we will still have disc souvenirs. We just ask that you bring a mask and wear a mask as you collect your goodies.
We will still have fun, prizes, and medals. But we ask that you continue to practice social distancing while playing. And please heed the pandemic warning signs throughout the event and don't touch other people's discs.
Who's ready for some outdoor fun?
Here's Shane Cruz of the Little Crow Disc Golf Club to explain our 2020 tournament format.
Hi, the Ridgewater Disc Golf Tournament is very welcoming of new players. With that in mind, let's go over some rules. The first throw of the hole must be made from the designated tee area, which is the tee box. Your foot must not pass the front edge of the tee box while you're still holding your disc. So you can follow through and then step past the tee box after you've let go of the disc. The player on the card who is farthest from the basket on subsequent throws gets to go first. This is for safety, and it also keeps the speed of the game going. The way you'd approach, you could either throw from that disc, and your foot must be within 6 inches of the back. Alternatively, you can put down a mini at the front, and your plant spot would be behind the mini. Again, this is not a PDGA sanctioned tourney, and if you don't have a mini, we can be honest here and do our best. But if you do enter a sanctioned tournament, just be aware that you will need a mini. Otherwise, you can't pick up the previous disc until the next one is thrown. Here are a couple discs that have landed very close to the OB line. I'm showing this line because it's one of the most a little more uncertain on the course. This disc is in, and this disc is out. This disc is touching some of the grass. If you do throw a shot out of bounds, you and your card mates will have to determine exactly where it came out. And that would be on a line between the disc and where you threw it from typically, or wherever you think it crossed. You'll have to come to that agreement. We'll say it crossed the OB line right here. I'll take 3 steps heel to toe to approximate 1 meter. And then I'll put a mark down there. If you don't have a mini, you can use a regular sized disc. If you don't have an extra disc, just try and be as honest as you can. You add 1 stroke to your score for going OB, and then throw from your next lie. If you do lose a disc, let the other players on your card know, and they need to help you look. Somebody should look at the clock when you start and count off 2 minutes. After that, it's time to move on. Drop a disc where everybody thinks they saw it last and take a stroke. If your disc winds up caught up in a tree, like this one here, the place your mark to throw the next shot is directly below it. So you'd make your mark there and take the next shot. There's no stroke penalty for a disc caught on a tree or on another elevated surface. If your putt is within 10 meters of the basket, you're not allowed to step through when you putt. Your card mates can warn you about that. Again, we're not a sanctioned tournament, but we should try to follow the rules and learn the appropriate rules of the PDGA. So if I did this, that's an illegal shot, and my card mates could call me on that. If you think you're close to the 10-meter line, ask your card mates, and you need to come to a consensus whether you're inside or outside of 10 meters. If your disc lands on top of the basket, you have not successfully completed the hole. The disc must be in the lower basket part. It could be held up by the chains, it might be on the edge and supported by chains, but it has to be in the basket, not on top and not jammed in the side.
All players will play 2 consecutive rounds. On the second round, the advanced division will throw from the temporary tees marked with ground paint and flags. The parking lot, any road, and the inner edge of the sidewalk are out of bounds. To clarify, the grass between the road and sidewalk is OB. Hole 1 is 255 feet long and slightly downhill. The parking lot could come into play, with the preferred line is around the left side. Hole 2 is only 195 feet long, but is no gimme. Players can throw through the left gap or choose the tighter line to the right. There is some danger of landing in the parking lot on the right side. Hole 3 is 240 feet long. The right side gap is tight, but doable. The parking lot is far from the basket, but reachable with a wild throw. OB is really no concern on hole 4. At 312 feet, players can take the right side gap below the treetops or a more open left line. Hole 5 tests both skill and power. It's 402 feet long with trees lining the fairway. The sidewalk on the left side of the fairway can come into play if you're not careful. Hole 6 is another short and challenging hole with 2 trees off the tee designated as double mando for this tournament. At 227 feet, it's quite reachable, so beware going long and left over the sidewalk. Note here, double mando means you must go between those 2 trees. Hole 7 clocks in at 465 feet. The access road to the right is OB, as well as the road behind the basket. Hole 8 is 366 feet long and slightly uphill. Trees close to the tee box force players to choose a wide open left to right play or a riskier right to left route that can leave a disc OB over the sidewalk. Number 9 measures 285 feet long and besides a few trees at the edge of the fairway is wide open. For the upper division, this is a must birdie hole, but a big arm can easily put their drive OB onto the road if they're not careful.